The first ingredient is Magic Muffin concentrate, of which we need 37.5 grams. Flour at 150 grams. Then we have sugar, which is 225 grams. We have invert sugar syrup, which is 37.5 grams. Next is oil, 90 grams. Then eggs, 450 grams. Then skim milk powder or SMP, which is 15 grams. For flavor, you can use vanilla powder or vanilla essence at 3 grams. You can increase or decrease the dosage of this if required. Next, we are going to be using rich cake gel, which you can see here, at a dosage of 7.5 grams. For preservative, we will be using potassium sorbate and sodium propionate. The potassium sorbate is used at a dosage of 1.2 grams for this recipe, and the sodium propionate is used at a dosage of 3 grams for this recipe. Please make sure that when you use preservatives, make sure to use them within the permissible limits. Cornstarch, 5 grams. So to start the mixing process, you can go ahead and add your sugar, followed by your invert sugar syrup and your eggs. If you're using vanilla essence or liquid flavoring, make sure to add it at this stage because it will be difficult to mix at a later stage. So now we are going to mix this for about 5 minutes, after which you will see it has become nice and fluffy. Now to this we need to add the dry ingredients. So here you can see that I've already mixed all the dry ingredients together, and I've also added the cake gel at this stage as well. So now we can go ahead and add all of these dry ingredients into the mix here. Make sure to get all of it in. And then start the mix and mix slowly for 1 minute. Now that we have mixed for 1 minute, you can see that the mixture has deflated a little. This is because of all of the other additional ingredients that we had added at this stage. So now that all the dry ingredients have been combined with the egg mixture and are now properly hydrated after 1 minute of mixing, we can go ahead and mix the batter for about 2 minutes at a medium speed to make sure that they're all evenly distributed and we have a uniform batter. The final ingredient we need to add now would be the oil. So now we can start the mixing at a slow speed and slowly pour the oil into the mix, into the bowl while it's mixing. Once all the oil has been added, you can now leave the mixture to mix for about 1 minute at this slow speed. Now you can see that this batter has been completely and uniformly mixed, and we have a smooth, shiny batter with us. So as you can see here, we have 2 aluminum trays, both of which have butter paper lining the bottom. Make sure that you do not put butter paper on the sides here, because this will cause the cake to stick to the sides and it will cause the butter paper to fold in while baking, which will lead to a bit of shrinkage. So this is a standard aluminum tray to which we are going to be adding 400 grams of batter. Make sure that before you add the batter, to take a little bit of batter and add it to the bottom of the tray to prevent the butter paper from moving about too much, as this will help in easy spreading of the batter later. So now that we have our 400 grams of batter scaled out, we are going to use something like a cake scraper, preferably one with a sharp edge, or a palette knife, to spread the batter evenly to make sure it's all over the tray in an even straight layer without any waves. Make sure to get it into every corner so that there are no air pockets while baking. Now we have here 2 trays of Swiss roll batter that have been uniformly spread to ensure that they are at an even height when baked. We are now going to bake it in a deck oven at 200 degrees Celsius. So as you can see, the cake has now been baked. Now we are going to demold it. It's not fully cooled yet, still slightly warm, which will help with the shaping. So we are going to demold this onto this sheet of butter paper, which is coated with caster sugar to prevent the cake from sticking. Now carefully remove the butter paper from the bottom, making sure to not make any holes or cracks in the cake. So next we are going to cut off the edges of the cake because they will be a little hard, making the cake difficult to roll, and it might cause it to break. So to prevent that, we're going to just take off a small part from the edge. So the next step in the process would be to apply the filling. Here we're going to be using just regular mixed fruit jam today. You can use any flavor that you like. You can also make use of buttercream or any other shelf-stable fillings that you think would go well with the cake. So here we now have a nice even layer of jam, and we're going to start rolling. While spreading the filling that you're going to use, make sure to leave a bit of space here at the end where there's no filling, because otherwise when you roll, it will cause the filling to get pushed outwards and then flow out. This is not desirable because it will be difficult to pack or store. So to prevent that, just a small gap at the end here. Now we're going to use this paper here to lift up the cake and roll it over. So using the paper, press down a little, gently roll, and continue to push and keep rolling. So as you can see, because of the caster sugar that we had applied earlier, it has prevented the cake, the top of the cake from sticking, and it helps you roll it very easily without any issues. Make sure that when you roll, the cake is pretty tight, because if you have a very loose layer, it will again lead to the cake not being stored correctly. Make sure tightly, as tight as possible. You can tighten it a little while you roll. Continue until the entire cake is finished. Now you have a nice little roll here, and just smoothen it out. Press it down a little so it's nice and tight. And using the same paper, go ahead and wrap it up, and that's it. Now you store this in the fridge until it's ready to be cut. So as you can see, we have this Swiss roll here which is completed. It was refrigerated for about 1 hour, and I'm going to cut it now. Just take off a bit of the edge here, because as you can see, some of the jam has come out from the edge. This is pretty normal, so we just take off that portion a little bit. And now you have this beautifully rolled Swiss roll here. Now we can go ahead and cut a few pieces to see what they look like.